Yes, so as I was mentioning, actually, when in CleanTech Business Club, we started dealing with hydrogen more and more. Many of our members who are coming from the storage industry, battery storage industry, were actually jealous. Yes, why we are dealing so much with clean hydrogen? Tomasz, let's don't forget about energy storage. Yes, because energy storage is driving now, the next wave of the clean tech revolution. And I said, okay, let's think, yes, because actually hydrogen is also a way of the storage, yes. And Dr. Rashi mentioned that she tried to bring to the agenda of the United Nations the topic. That was quite difficult to organize everything, so we said, okay, as we are private business club, based on the leaders, we can take decisions very fast. And it took 5 minutes, 6 minutes, yes, to come up with the storage diversity initiative. And yes, and we are here, yes, and this is very, let's say, historical event, because for the first time, we unite the leaders from different storage solutions for the common goal, at the end of the day, to advance the clean tech and hydrogen transformation together, because together we are stronger, exactly. So, to be efficient, let's make it more like a brainstorm, yes? So, Dr. Rashi, I will give you first the floor, as you initiated the initiative, why you came up with this initiative, why you were so exciting actually that we tackle this, and what next steps do you propose? So, you see the battery storage is important, maybe the...
Storage is always very important. And without storage, nothing will work. So, that's the final ultimate goal. What all do we keep storing? We store everything on the planet, everything. Whether it is water, whether it is food, whether it is money, or whether it is even energy, Energy is beyond electricity. We need to understand that. Energy is beyond electricity. And what we now need to preserve is also the human form of energy, and how we are intertwining the entire energy landscape. Not just electricity, my friends here, but entire energy landscape, including all the 5 elements of Earth. Now, when you talk of storage diversity, what are we actually looking at? We are looking at storage in every form, in every technology, collaborating with each other, and not competing. There's always a huge debate that why should we have a hydrogen, or why should we have a battery, why should we have gravitational energy, why should we have mechanical storage, or whether we should have A versus B. I mean, that is not really needed. What we need is all of us together. Like, look at the diversity on the stage, When you talk of diversity and inclusion, we are not just talking about human beings. We are talking about energy as well. And diversity and inclusion also of the energy will be the next transformation to bring the catastrophe on Earth, not just the climate, but even the human catastrophe on Earth, to a silence, which is very, very crucial. What we all have been doing till now is just competing with each other. I want a battery energy storage system. Okay, then I want a lithium, or I want a sodium, I want a vanadium, and I want a pumped hydro, or I want a hydrogen tank. Why compete? Collaborate. That is the recipe of success. And everybody wants to be successful, right? Is there anyone who doesn't want to be? Everyone wants success, right? So why do we compete and pull each other out of the ecosystem? Let's all together move in the ecosystem and reach the ultimate unity and create something that is value, not just for our generations, the human generations for that matter, but also the next coming generations which are there further. Do you think who is running this climate emergency race? Who is running? It's we who are running. And who's going to go extinct? It's the humankind that is going to go extinct, and not the climate. My friends, please understand that Mother Earth has a lot of ways and means to deal with the climate catastrophe, deal with the climate emergencies that are there at the moment, that we humans have created. And if we do not act now on storage diversity, what will happen is that we will not be able to do a disaster management, which we are not foreseeing at the moment. There's a huge disaster that is right in front of us, standing there waiting for us, welcoming us actually. And if we do not have storage of energy, I would not use the word energy storage here, I would use the word storage of energy in every form together, we are not prepared. We are grossly underprepared for the disasters that are heading our way. And we need to really understand that this time is now, really, really now, to act on this and to create an ecosystem which will help the mankind to survive. It's not the Mother Earth that has to survive. We are not here to fix the planet. We are here to fix our own kind. And if we don't do that today, we have lost the battle. So it's time that we all align our forces together with one vision of storing energy in every form that is available, without competition and collaboration. That is the recipe of success. Over to you, Thomas.
So thank you so much, Dr. Rashi. So maybe I would like to ask now Mr. Hydrogen. Yes? Mr. Hydrogen from Germany, yes? Dr. Stefan Kaufmann. So because you are Mr. Hydrogen, yes, but of course hydrogen is a kind of the storage. Do you consider hydrogen as a competition of battery storage, or in the vision of the countries, of nations, we should consider both?
No, it's no competition. We need both. We need electrons, we need molecules, we need all of them. So we have to look for the best solution, but we have to cooperate, as you said, so it's not a competition. For sure, competition helps a little bit to ramp and speed things up, that's true, but at the end we need all of them. And that's why we also need storage systems and hydrogen solutions and all the infrastructure for that. And that's why it's also interesting and good that we have these events together, hydrogen events next to storage and renewable events, and that's what we are creating here with CBC. And that's a good way to work together on a better and cleaner future.
So maybe I will give a floor to the second Mr. Hydrogen. So Miko, you are Mr. Hydrogen of France, but also you see one of the best experts in the geopolitics of hydrogen. And we are now working on Quo Vadis clean hydrogen. And of course, one of the very important things from the beginning was not to speak only about hydrogen within the hydrogen industry, but to speak together with the clean water industry, with clean tech industries, etc. So by default, we consider we are friends, yes, not enemies.
By default, if you want to produce hydrogen, you will need water, whatever the production route. Even when it comes to natural hydrogen, you will need water at some point in the process. And at the other side of the spectrum, basically, hydrogen can help store energy, but until now, it wasn't really what was thought to be a good use for. So there's a competition, though. There's a competition. If you go to NEOM in Saudi Arabia, over there they've tested more than 100 energy storage solutions just to give life to NEOM, this like massive project. And basically, out of the 100-ish solutions they've tested, hydrogen was not selected. They picked pumped hydro, in fact. So there was a competition. There was a competition, and the reason why hydrogen lost was not just because of the price or the cost competition. It was also a matter of practicality and a few other factors. So there is a competition at some point. But definitely, the cake is big enough, if you like, for everyone to have a place in the energy transition. That's where I would say hydrogen has the biggest role to play here, together with batteries and the likes. Basically, that's where the competition does not happen. There's a market for each and every one of these solutions. What we need to work on, and that's how I would translate your call for collaboration. What we need to find is the right market segmentation for that sector, that country, that region, that usage, so that basically none of these energy storage solutions basically step on the foot of one another.
Yes, and maybe also the great idea is what we do actually with Quo Vadis clean hydrogen and then with Storageversity to work jointly on the roadmaps, yes? Not to work separately, but to work jointly on the roadmap. So now battery storage, a man of Germany, yes, Jan. We had Mr. Hydrogen, now Mr. Battery Storage. So how do you see this from your perspective, Jan?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting question, and we certainly need competition and eventually between the different technologies that exist, because eventually we are speaking about different financial resources that are available, and I find quite interesting that we have been speaking so much on the use of hydrogen, which is at its infant stage at the moment, still very expensive, but which has a huge potential, and which at the moment, at least from our perspective from the Energy Storage Systems Association, needs a combination, because electrolyzers are relatively expensive investments and at small scale. They might get a lot bigger, but at the moment we should try to keep them running 24/7, ideally. Of course not to make base load, but for a country like Germany to ideally produce like higher value products like hydrogen for the industry, for steel manufacturing, but also as a backup solution. And thus, with the costs going down for many different battery systems, especially with lithium-ion battery system, we certainly see that there should be like co-location of renewable energy plants and batteries in order to produce hydrogen. And all the other types of batteries, they also have their value. And if you look at countries like Germany, which at the moment need like basically have 80% fossil fuels, which need to change, need to electrify a lot, but not all of it is possible. We certainly have a huge market for everyone to share, but at a different stage and a different benefit.
Yes, thank you so much. And now I would like to give a floor to Daniel. So Daniel, you are very experienced in the solar industry. Now you are also working on some combined projects, yes, which include renewable energy, hydrogen, energy storage, your amped exclusive solutions, yes? So how do you see this collaboration between all the industries, and what would be your recommendation for the next steps?
Yeah, I think we need to integrate each other into projects, no competition, or there's some sort of competition, of course, because for the different durations, for the different capacities, we have different costs and different involvements in technology and different ramp-ups in technology available. And if I'm looking at a project we've done in the past, integration of solar is one step. Integration of having hydrogen as a backup, having local produced hydrogen for the off-taker. I think it's the most efficient way in the first place until we have enough infrastructure built to transport hydrogen over longer distance for aviation fuel, for other transportations, like vessels. They need also hydrogen or a sort of hydrogen at the end, and producing that close to where it's needed. I think it's the best way with the lowest competition then.
Thank you so much. And actually what I noticed that often when we are working separately, we are putting a lot of efforts on different applications. And maybe it doesn't make sense to put efforts separately on different applications. Maybe if we are working together, we can target, yes, okay, these are the applications which make more sense with hydrogen. These are with battery storage. Maybe this can be with hydro solutions when we have a lot of resources. This can be gravity storage. So maybe I will ask Cyriac. Cyriac is coming from SMA, and I had the pleasure actually to learn about solar industry from the founder of SMA like 20 years ago, and it's always a pleasure to see people from SMA up and running. So Cyriac, from your perspective, how do you see, and also is SMA planning to position in the hydrogen industry?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I like to start touch basing on the collaboration part, how we started. So basically, we need hydrogen for a different sector, for a different duration. But how we see, or from the industry, directly from the industry, where we see the traction going is how we are using the PV and the batteries for producing green hydrogen. So today, if we combine PV plus storage, it's already cheaper than the power from the grid. So we do not need to touch the grid power, and we can stop this dilemma of blue hydrogen, gray hydrogen, green hydrogen, and start directly jumping into the green hydrogen. Because we have the PV, we have the storage, and we have the solutions to form our own grid and go independent of the grid. That means we already are in a well position to talk about green hydrogen completely. So from the technology side, we are seeing the projects kicking off, and we are supporting such projects to produce green hydrogen completely independent of the grid. And this is something, an area that's worth highlighting, to collaborate with the battery technology, but also to produce hydrogen, which is needed for a different sector completely, and not connected to the sectors which is reliant on the battery storage as well.
Thank you so much. I think that Mr. Gunther Kramer, who was founder of SMA, would be proud of having such guys around the world. Yes, he grew company from very small company, which became the most important player in the world. So helped to drive renewable energy revolution. Now maybe can help us to make the next steps in all the industries working together. So Dr. Rashi, as you are the boss, yes, of our storage versity, so what do you propose as the next steps? Yes, besides that we will invite hydrogen leaders also to be part of storage versity roadmap, and also even the leaders of the water industry. So how would you imagine the next steps that we're going to do?
I think in the next steps, what we should do is we should have inputs from different stakeholders of each segment, whether it's hydrogen, it's gravitational storage, it's mechanical storage, or whatever. I mean, every domain of storage, we should have certain inputs from each of the segments, each of the experts there. And then combine those, I mean, this is a long roadmap that I'm just giving you here, and then combine all of this together to bring out the pain points and the solutions that the industry, governments, and people and countries at large really need. Because when we are a group of world leaders, what we need to do is we need to lead everyone to the space where on a healthy ecosystem, everyone can thrive. And this is our responsibility as leaders to do that. So in that case, I'd suggest we get individual stakeholders or maybe group of stakeholders from each segment, collate and collaborate with whatever their findings are, bring out the pain points, bring out the solutions. They may not be in all for one solution fits all, that might not work, but we could give them multiple domains of solutions, which they could tailor make into their own countries and region specific, geographically specific needs, and come to a space where energy storage or storage of every form of energy is combined to achieve the prosperity, peace, and happiness of mankind. That is what I have to say. Okay, so now we make a round of the recommendations of all the people. Miko?
We need to be realistic on two fronts. First front, when you were just before saying that we should all work together, etc., I really, of course, bought your reasoning. And at the same time, I can't help thinking that from one state to another, from one province to another, from one local community to another, basically, competition will naturally arise. There will always be a competition because the energy storage solutions that are out there, be they based on water, on molecules, or on electrons, are so diverse that, yes, there's a space for everyone, but organizing the market or organizing the regulation or organizing the public subsidies to help some rollout or whatever, it's going to be just so hard. It's going to be just so hard. Even harder, I would argue, than in hydrogen stricto sensu. So here, I think we should indeed have the great ambition that you guys have showing, of course, in mind. And at the same time, we can't overhype that thing. It would be a mistake at the same time. And that leads me to my second point. Hydrogen can help reduce the potential for overhyping energy storage. Because in hydrogen right now, there's a huge debate when it comes to the regulation of hydrogen with regards to the hourly matching versus annual matching versus trimestral matching versus monthly matching in the US, in France, in Europe, and the likes. To basically make sure that the hydrogen that is produced with renewables in particular against those produced with fossil fuels is really not a greenwashing adventure. If you really want to limit the prospects of annual matching, hourly matching, and the likes, helping one way or another greenwashes, connecting hydrogen with energy storage in the likes of batteries in particular, but pumped hydro in some places where you would do desalination, like in Saudi Arabia or in Africa, for example, it makes sense. It makes sense and it helps providing clarity on what this energy storage is for. And once you've built that clarity, you can start building some kind of market and policy segmentation around it. So that's really what I would offer as a 2 cents perspective here. Let's not overhype that thing, otherwise we would make the same mistakes as have been done in renewables and or hydrogen.
Yes, so, and I think it's great always to have like a pragmatic approach also, yes, and to make things step by step. So, Stefan, your recommendation very shortly. Everybody has 3 minutes.
As we don't have much time, think big and global, start locally, act fast, and work together.
Okay, thank you so much. Daniel?
Work together.
Okay. Jan?
Well, that's the solution, right? We need to all work together to create an environmental where humankind can survive. Because currently, when we go ahead with basically we're using energy storage which was 60 million years in the ground, and we're burning it now and putting it into the atmosphere. We need to get away from that. We need to use what is currently existing on free energy, like solar, wind, water, and use that, store that for a longer duration and use it as is.
Jan?
Yeah, but to let me specify, like not only work together on industry level, but also on policy maker level, because in every country there are very good experience and there are bad experience, and it makes perfect sense to see if a country has not yet developed a certain industry in the energy storage sector to a special level, to learn from what the others have done and where they have succeeded and where they didn't. I see often that the wheel is reinvented many times in this industry.
What about your recommendation?
We would like to see more enforcement on the source of the hydrogen. Like this is something, like I said, it's a gray area whether it's how it's classified as green, blue, or but then it's also technically. But then there is always a counter argument that the energy is expensive to produce green. But that's what we are trying to say, that the solution and the parity is already there, and we should have more enforcement on the source of the hydrogen to make it to stamp it as green.
I would like to make a call for action. It's more than a recommendation. Based on what you just said, and I fully agree, we need to call out the fact that at this point in the world, the most subsidized industry in the whole wide world is the hydrocarbon energy industry. So if you want to achieve exactly what you said, sir, what we will need is to have a substantial amount of that money which is given to the hydrocarbons industry from the taxpayers every day, every year globally, and transfer it towards this continuum between renewables, hydrogen, and energy storage all the way to the end use. Just to give one figure to back this call for action or this call for calling out people, Basically, in 2022, according to the International Monetary Fund, so basically not a group of commies, the subsidies directly by governments globally to the hydrocarbons industry amounted to 1,500 billion US dollars. When you compare that to the amount of subsidies for energy storage in the likes of battery and hydrogen, well, we have the same amount, but for the next 20 years, not just in 1 year alone. So that is the magnitude of the policy discussion that we need to have globally, because until there's this redirection of money towards the cleaner energy sources and vectors, we will never have a level playing field. The competition will never be fair. And people will always say, hydrogen is too expensive, batteries are too expensive, solar panels, which is the cheapest energy in the world right now, too expensive. So we need to change the discussion, to change the narrative, and to change the narrative, we need to say the figures out loud and call out those who benefit from that and do nothing to change what they are actually benefiting from.
Yes, exactly. And we'll be speaking and shouting out loud in our roadmaps, yes, clean hydrogen, and also storage diversity. And you know, I started in solar industry more than 20 years ago. We were like this, yes? We grew 2,000 times, we are like this. But when we introduce storage, all the diverse storage solutions, we will be like this. Yes, and actually, we should not fight. Before, you know, we are not fighting for this cake. We grew this cake like this. Now we are growing cake like this, yes? So let's work together to help to cook this cake as fast as possible. Do you agree? Yes, okay. Thank you so much. So, speaking about cooking, yes, so they are already cooking the next event, yes, the party. And I would like to thank you for this contribution, Rashi, also for inspiration, yes, and I promise you that from CBC you have full support, and I think everybody agrees, yes, here? I think so, yes. Thank you so much. And last but not least, I would like to make, you know, family photo of the speakers, and also I would like to ask organizers to bring some of the remaining trophies, yes? So I think that, Stefan,